Welcome back. Today's video, we will be talking about the information gathering phase of a penetration test. So basically, all the skills and techniques that you will learn during an information gathering, or the ones you need for the information gathering phase. There are too many of them, and in Kala Linux you can find it, or go to apps, information gathering expanded. You can see many tools categorized according to the objective. But we're going to talk about the most popular ones, the ones that you may frequently use during your information gathering. Okay, so the first thing is whois. Now, whois, as all of you guys know, that all domain registrars keep records of the domains they host. So the records they contain or they keep and store about your domain are the records you entered while creating your own domain. Example, your name, the company, the phone number, the name servers. All of these data are stored by registrars and entered by you. So when we use whois queries this information from the registrars. So when we type whois, and let's say my website, .net, and hit enter, I will see all the information registered or stored in the registrar about my domain. But since I have domain privacy, the rest of the info about my name, the number are not revealed here. So I only have the registrar's name and the name servers. Okay, now we have also a tool called Netcraft, but Netcraft is kind of old. I'm not sure if we can use this in 2020. Okay, so the next one is NSLookup. So we can, as you know, guys, we can also use the domain name system servers to learn more about a domain DNS servers, right? So as all of you know, guys, let's say my domain. When you enter this domain in the browser, it translates into an IP address. So if we want to know the DNS information about specific domain, we just type NSLookup, right? And the domain name. So here is, as you can see, the IP address of my website. And we got this IP address by querying the DNS server, the DNS servers, right? So the DNS servers return that my domain has the IP address, this one. And it's non-authoritative answer, as you can see. And it gives the canonical name. These are some of the DNS records I entered in my DNS configuration, guys. So NSLookup reveals some of them, but we can make NSLookup reveal much more information about the DNS entries, right? So for example, we can, find the mail servers for the same website by looking for MX records. So if we type NSLookup, and here we have a prompt. Let's type set type equal MX, and we put the domain is my domain. Okay, so here it's saying that I don't have mail servers, right? There is no MX records in my domain. That's the explanation. Instead of using the prompt, let me Control C here, exit. Okay, and let's look up. Help. Oh, okay. I remember that there is an option for using the help. So man NSLookup. So we use this in the interactive mode, but there must be options for this. Okay. Fine. Okay, if we want to find not only the MX records, we want to know, for example, let's say some records like we have the MX, we have the A records. Let's say statement, okay, let's say the SOA. So NSLookup, set type equal SOA, my domain. Okay, so I don't have. Okay, let's see now the domain name server. Okay, here are my domain name servers. So you can go to the internet, guys, and list all of the types of DNS records. All you have to do, just set type equal to the DNS records you are looking up, and you will get the results. Exit. So now we got the domain information about the DNS records. Now, okay, my shell is kinda closed. Okay, now the next tool, guys, that we can use for DNS queries is host. So host, we can ask this tool, guys, for the name servers for a domain name. So let's say host sudo host TNS. So it returns the name servers, right? And host is considered standalone tool, guys. You can use it for all kinds of, looking up DNS queries, DNS records, whatsoever. So you type host -h, and you can see all the options you can use with this tool. So we use the T1, we specify the query type, right? In our case, it is NS. Now, I am sure there is, okay, if we type, we set T to A, as you can see, it's gonna look for all the records, I think. No, this is the A record. Yes, this is the A record. Okay. Now I'm looking for an option to specify all the records. Okay, if we try, all right, there is no option for this. So we have the name servers. Let's try to look up MX records. So it's saying no MX record. Okay, now that's for host, NSLookup, and whois. Now let's talk about zone transfers. So as you know, guys, DNS zone transfers allow named servers to replicate all the entries about a domain. So when you have, let's go back to host T, let's say A, okay, my domain. Okay, so I now looked up the A record of my domain name, which gave me the IP address of my domain name. Now, if I look up again, MX, no MX records, name servers. Okay, now all of these, the name servers, the MX records, all of these guys are called DNS entries or DNS records. So the DNS zone transfers allow name servers to replicate all the entries about a domain, the A records, the MX records. So when setting up DNS servers, you typically have a primary name server, all right, and a backup server. So what is a better way to populate all the entries in the secondary DNS server than to query the primary domain name servers is to use the zone transfers. So zone transfers, guys. But there is something I want to tell you guys. Unfortunately, many system administrators set up DNS zone transfers insecurely so that anyone can transfer the DNS records for a domain. And let's, for example, my domain, they can transfer the DNS records, right? And then we can download all of the DNS records for this domain. Imagine how disastrous is this. So, for example, I attempted to transfer the domain, the DNS records, attempted to zone transfer of my domain. So we type host L and we put, let's say, my domain name. And here we choose, for example, one of the domain name servers. Let's say this one. Okay, so now here what I am doing, I am attempting something called zone transfer, where I will display all the DNS records of this domain, and then I can conclude what I need to plan next. So basically, if I hit enter, so it's saying transfer failed. Why failed? Because I set up my DNS records to securely. So if we try this on some other domain that is not secure, I don't have nothing in my mind right now, but that's how you attempt zone transfer on a specific domain. You just put host -l and the domain name and one of the domain name servers. All right. And when you hit enter, all of the DNS records will be shown about this domain, this one. If the zone transfer has been set up incorrectly, or the DNS records has been set up incorrectly. So zone transfers, guys, this is for zone transfers. Now let's jump to, now we are done with domain names, right? Okay, that's clear. Now let's jump to email addresses. How we can harvest email addresses about specific domain, the corporate email addresses. Now we stepped our game up. So now after we harvest the domain name information, the DNS records, now we're gonna be harvesting the emails or the corporate emails attached to our client's website. So for this, guys, we have a tool in Kali Linux called the harvester. The harvester, where is it? Okay, you can launch it from here, I think. So let's say that we type harvester. By the way, harvester is a Python tool, guys. It scoured thousands of search engine results. This tool scours thousands of search engine results and looks for possible email addresses. It looks in Google, Bing, PGP, LinkedIn, and others for email addresses. For example, if we type harvester and -d, domain name, and now -l, we will specify how many search results we will look in. So basically, we will look for 200 search results and display everything. Okay. Now let's type sudo and see what we will get. Now, 99%, this will get nothing and the output will be empty. Why? Because I don't have any email address associated with my domain name. So 99%, the output will be empty, guys. But let's see if we can see some other domain, but I think it's going to take long. Okay, so it found me some links. I have no idea who are these guys, by the way. Who are these guys? LinkedIn. Oh, let's see. Actually, guys, to be honest, this is the first time I see this. Okay, let's copy the link. Open Firefox. Oh, well, my account is logged out now. But honestly, I don't have any idea of these guys. I don't know. I think it is actually the results not all the time are accurate, but I don't know what these have to do with my domain. Oh, I made a mistake here. Look. That's why. So I forgot the .NET. That's why. Now we hit enter. I think the results will be accurate now. And on separate terminal, let's try this on a domain that we are damn sure there are emails in it. Let's go back and copy that. If we try this on Google, we're not gonna finish till tomorrow, by the way. So let's try this on offensive security. Let's make sure the domain is correct. I don't think this is allowed, by the way. I want something to find emails in, but I don't have legal reason to do this. So basically, I'm not gonna do that. Let's go back. So basically here, Harvester will find you the emails associated with a domain name. All right. And as you can see, it looks in LinkedIn to find an exact match in DuckDuckGo, Dumpster, VirusTotal, SetSpotter, Google, Fido. So 0 results. Of course, I don't have emails on this domain. All right. Now let's go to the king of open source intelligence, which is Multigo. So if we open Multigo, guys, as you know, guys, Multigo is a data mining tool designed to visualize open source intelligence gathering. It has both commercial and free community edition, and by default, the free Kali contains the community edition, which is free to use. You can use it. Now, let's run Multigo and see what we can do. Okay. So I have 218 updates. All right. So now here on the left, we define the piece of the object that we want to enumerate. All right. So in case you have the client's website, you start with the domain. If you have the DNS name, you start with the DNS name. If you have a device, phone number, you specify the entity given to you, all right, at the start of the enumeration. So we have many objects to start from, but in our case, we have only the website, right? So we have domain name, we can use domain name, and I noticed a website here. Website. Okay, let's try this. So we take it, drag it to the right, and we put the website. Okay, Now, if you are interested in specific details, you can right-click and see what you have. So this one runs all transformations, right? Everything Multigo has, every information gathering tool is going to be run against your domain. Now you can choose here, for example, connect to the domain, convert to domain, links in and out of site, all transformation resolved to IP. I'm not sure we have only these. Let's go to domain here. Let's delete that. Okay, double click. Okay, so we have DNS from domain, domain owner detailed, email addresses from domain, files and documents. Okay, if this is your first time, run all transforms. And as you can see here, we'll see a list of all the transforms you can use. All you have to do is to go to the right and click on it. In my case, I'm going to click on all transforms and start it. So here it's gonna scour and look for every possible detail related to your domain name. So here's the website address, the name servers. I'm not sure what is that. The domain registrar. And after that, you can select specific entity from here and further narrow down your enumeration. So let's say click on that and run all transforms on the website. So padding, resident, okay, run. Let's see what we can get by enumerating the website. So let's go down. Oh my God, look, we have plugins here. So Google AdSense, Yoast plugin. It is a WordPress website and the IP address. Here is the title of my website. As you can see, it's telling you that there are social links in my website, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter. Very useful information. Now, if we click on WordPress plugins, there are no transformation associated with that. We cannot do anything. So YouTube, if we run this, I think here, no, this one. Okay, so here you get some info about the website, right? Like in your information gathering, you're not supposed to get this info unless you are scanning the website with Nikto or WP-Scan in case it's WordPress. But now you get the idea that this is WordPress based, and here's the IP address. And if we go down, and from here, if we click on the IP and run transformations of that IP, let's see what we can get from this. So we go down. So here is everything associated with my IP address. So it is in Google Cloud, the location. What's that? Okay. It requires me to log in, so let's log in. Incorrect. The captcha was incorrect. I think we got this now. Okay. So where were we? Here's the subnet of the IP, and there is not so much info, useful info about the IP address actually, unless it is we are planning to do port scanning, which Multigo doesn't do, of course. It's not port scanning tool, but we got plenty of fruitful information actually. Now let's go back and see here. Actually, that's it. So we got the domain name, the registrar, the name servers, the type of website, some plugins, the IP address. And if you go down, double click on the YouTube, and here it's saying only YouTube, right? Properties. Okay, this is the URL. This is the link of my channel as well. So also it gave us the link of these social media accounts. Let's double click on LinkedIn. Properties. This is my LinkedIn account. Facebook. Click on Facebook. This is my Facebook account. Now you may tell me, guys, that the social links, you can find them by just navigating to the website, but the IP address, the plugins, the platform of the website or the content management system, this info cannot be included once you navigate to the website, right? So Multigo is a hell damn of a tool. I like it. You can use Multigo, guys, instead of Harvester. You can use it as a standalone tool for information gathering. Okay, I'm not gonna give a deep dive on this. Now let's close Multigo and continue the rest of the information gathering. Let's close out, discard all. Now let's talk about port scanning. Port scanning is part of the information gathering phase. So as you know, guys, port scanning can be done with Nmap, but you can do manual port scanning, right? So you can use netcut for this. So let's let's get the IP address back of my website. Okay, that's my IP. Now, how do we know if a specific port is open on my server? How do we know that? We can use netcut and -pv with the IP and the port. And now I think it requires me to put sudo. Okay, so it's saying the port 80 is open. Great. Now let's close that and try 21. So if it doesn't respond, it means most probably the port is closed or filtered. Okay, let's try to see if port 25 SMTP server is open and running. Okay, closed. Okay, that's how we can know if a specific port is open, but for complete port scanning, you can use Nmap, all right? I explained Nmap back in my channel. I have like 1 or 2 videos. I'm gonna put the links of these videos in the description box or in the cards. You can access them and see the detailed use of Nmap, especially if you want to evade firewall. Now, one of the Nmap prominent scans is called the synchronization scan or STScan. So why it is called STScan? Because it doesn't finish the TCP handshake. So as all of you know, guys, TCP connection starts with a 3-way handshake: synchronization acknowledgement, and then finish. So basically, in a synchronization scan that starts with SS, Nmap sends the synchronization packet and waits for the synchronization acknowledgement if the port is open, but never sends the acknowledgement back to the client to complete the connection. That's why firewall most cases cannot know if there's scanning going on or not. Okay, how can we attempt port scanning using the stealth option? So we put the switch SS and we put the IP address. Let's say it's my website. 97. And what do we do else? Okay, let's keep it like this. Okay, all right. Now I'm scanning my server. I'm not sure, guys, I'm gonna reveal all the results, but then we have, guys, the STScan, and we have the version scan. The version scan gives us the version of each service running on the server, which is very useful later down the road when you try to find an exploit or exploits for the outdated versions of the current services running on the server. So also version scan is very important. It can be invoked with SV. After the scan finishes, let's interrupt the scan and put dash SV. Here I am telling Nmap to display all the running services, the open ports, and the corresponding versions of each service, right? So here I start to get useful information about my target. And of course, I use the STScan to try to avoid firewall noise. But basically, there are more advanced techniques to evade firewall detection or ID detection, like we have option -F and the MTU packet, right? You specify the size. But basically, you can find all of these details in the Nmap video, evading firewall detection or ID detection with Nmap. Now, if we want, now the techniques here uses TCP scan. If we want to use UDP scan, all we have to do is to, instead of SS, we use U. Specifying this option, we specify Nmap to use UDP scan, which is connectionless. And the logic of UDP scan is a bit different. In UDP scan, Nmap sends a UDP packet to a port. Now, depending on the port, the packet sent is a protocol specific. If it receives a response, the port is considered open. If the port is closed, Nmap will receive an ICMP port unreachable message. And this is the explanation of how UDP port works, right? Okay. Now you have these STScan, the TCP scan. Of course, you can use the SN option. Let's go back. And if you specify SN option, you need to specify the network IP address in order to find out what are the live hosts, right? Now, what if, suppose that we are interested in only specific port, like the case we did with Netcat here, right? Let's say we are interested in only scanning for a specific port if it is open or not. Let's say STScan, and here we put -B. We specify specific port. Let's say it's 80, and we put the IP address of the server. Let's try it on my server. In this case, port 80 is open on my website, all of you know that. 97. So it's saying port is open, right? Now, what if we want to know the version of the service on this specific port? We go back to the command and we specify here SV, right? Here we're going to get info about the service, the type of server running the web server, right? So let's see. So it's saying it's Apache HTTPD. Now, most Linux systems run either Apache or NGINX. So far, guys, we covered many tools for information gathering. We covered the domain name information gathering. We gathered DNS records, email addresses. We used the harvester, Maltego, to gather as much info as we can about the website or the domain name of the client. And then we used Nmap to find the open ports, the running services, and this concludes the information gathering phase. Now, after that, we need to find the vulnerabilities, all right? You can also go back to applications and experience all of the tools depending on your goal. Now, in my case, the goal was to enumerate the client's website. In other cases, you may need to enumerate like routers, the entire network, all right? So we may talk about this later down the road, but this is for the information gathering phase of a penetration test. Thank you so much.